Hello, welcome back, Steve's Retirement Corner. Preparing for winter in retirement. I'm telling you, Doc, winter in retirement is a whole different animal. Just as good as you feel having your first summer off in decades, retirement can feel just as bad in the wintertime. It has for me, anyways, man. It's it's something I think it might need to be thought about. It's personal, man. It's just like everything else about retirement. It really goes off you, your situation, your personality, and everything else. But it's and if you think about it, man, daggone retirement or winter. I mean, it's a dead season, man. Football's over or about to be. Spring training ain't started yet. There ain't no NASCAR going on. You know, so everything's all brown and dying. There's less hours in the day, less hours of sunlight, shorter days. Everything's gray and dying, it feels like, man. I think retirement is just as much mental as it is financial. And I did everything, well, I did things just like everybody else, man. I concentrated on the financial. And seeing as I retired a little bit earlier than I had planned on, I didn't really have time to put much thought into the mental part of it. And so, I mean, you got to be careful, man. And them 2 or 3 months in the wintertime with it all dreary looking outside can really have effect on your mental part. You'll get, hey man, I tend to eat more, sleep more. Depression's a big thing that happens in the winter time. You got to guard against that depression, man. It leads to no good. I think it pays to have something to rely on in during the winter months. It's not just the cooler temperatures or the foot of snow you'll get. It's the whole thing balled up into one. That's what affects me. And we have mild winters down here, man. We don't hardly get any. Last 2 years we ain't had no winter really. Last year it snowed. Was the first snow we got in 2 years, and it was just a daggone dusting. We don't have nowhere near the winters that a lot of people have, temperature-wise or any of that other stuff. About once or twice a decade we'll have a rough winter, sub-zero temps and a lot of precipitation, stuff like that, and we haven't in the past couple of years. And I've said before, hey man, that it gets below 50 degrees and Steve don't work too well, man. the closer it gets to 90 degrees, the better I feel, man. The better I operate. Things don't hurt. You just don't. I just feel better the warmer the temperature gets. And you start pushing 95, 100, well then it changes things a little bit. But and I really had no plan for winter before I retired. It did affect when I decided to retire. I mean, the biggest thing was my age, but the knowing I was going, if I'd have retired 1st of January, I'd have had another month in retirement. It was in the middle of winter. By pushing it back to the 1st of February, I figured the worst I'd have is 6 weeks maybe, and that after about 3 or 4 weeks, things would start getting a little bit better. So I didn't really have to fool with it a lot. That first winter might not be too bad on you. It's you're still basking in the glow of retirement, So it might not be as bad, but later down the road, I think it's going to help if you have an idea what you want to do for the wintertime. When you just can't get out as easy. I can't get out in here and sit down like this for a few minutes every once in a while. It's just too cold. Before I retired, I figured we'd work. Right now, I got no plans on what to do in retirement during the winter. I got no no fix for it. I'm still up in the air about it. When I first retired, I figured, hey man, we'll work it just like we always worked it. Deal with it as long as we can. Then we take a couple weeks and throw a change of clothes in a car and head down south where till we met more hospitable weather that I could stand for a while. I just needed a break. Every year when I worked, I took the last week of January and the first week of February as a vacation, just to get me a little break. I figured time I come back off of that, it was enough to get me through the rest of the winter, and it usually worked. That's the reason I went in February. I retired February 1st. It felt like I was on vacation in the first couple of weeks. Is what we always did. And the winter didn't bother me as bad. But and as long as that works, we're gonna keep doing it. But I originally planned on getting me a banjo and learn how to play it. I love the way it sounds. I figure I could sit over in the dungeon over here and there all winter and pick and play to my heart's content. I ain't never done it yet. I almost picked up one here a couple of weeks ago. They had one down at the junk store, but they wanted too much for it. I can pick them up all day long on eBay or Amazon or somewhere used at the same price. So, but I ain't got no musical abilities, but to give me something to learn on, keep my mind active. So I thought about that. I thought about this year joining the daggone bowling league. Used to mess around with it when I was younger, but I never was any good at it. But I enjoyed playing it, So, but I hadn't done any of it this year. I think next year maybe I'll try and roll a few games before the fall, so I can join one. Feel comfortable about it, and make sure I can still bend over and do like you're supposed to do. But it's I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to deal with it eventually. Right now, it's not that much trouble. But and it's not the temperatures that get me. It's the whole thing rolled into one. Things just are so much harder to deal with in the wintertime. So, but I think it's a good idea for you to think about it before you retire. It ain't bad down here. Ain't nowhere near like a lot of y'all get. But it still can be a problem. It's just a personal thing, I believe. But it never hurts to keep an eye on it, to have an idea of what you're going to do about it. So, what got me thinking about it was I know for a fact it was 50 this morning. Whether it ticked below or not, I don't know. They was calling for it to get down in the 40s last night, so we'll see. But that got me to thinking. But listen, man, y'all take care. Hey, you know what? I'm thinking about doing a live. I think it's 26th of September. Is that right? The third Thursday of the month, I think, is what I'm going to do. I had some people ask. And I'd like to, man. I hadn't done one in a little over a year. I think it was May of 23 last time I done one. I enjoy it. It's just a BS session, man. Lasts probably about an hour or so. You guys can ask all the questions you want. I can get to know me a little better, and I can clear up anything that's I might have screwed up in my ramblings, and I get to check in on you guys. I know some of y'all having health troubles, and some of you are doing great. Just kind of getting to know each other a little bit better. Probably about 7 o'clock. I'll make everything definite, but right now it's going to be the third Thursday of the month at 7 o'clock, and we'll go from there. Kind of like to do one a month like that, just a little bull session, But if you're interested, let me know. If not, then hey, man, we'll do something else. But anyways, man, y'all take care of yourselves. Enjoy your week best you can, and we'll talk to y'all later.